What if I told you that an army of only 300 men defeated thousands without swords? What if your greatest weakness was actually the key to your biggest victory? This is the story of a man who was hiding in fear when God called him a mighty warrior. A man who doubted, questioned, and felt completely unqualified. But God chose him anyway, and what happened next changed everything. This is not just a battle story, this is the story of Gideon, a story about fear, faith, and impossible victory. Section 1. Israel in fear and oppression. The land of Israel was once full of promise, a place flowing with milk and honey, but now it had become a land of fear. For 7 long years the Midianites ravaged the land. Like locusts they came, stealing crops, destroying farms, leaving nothing behind. The people of Israel hid in caves, in mountains, in fear. They planted but could not harvest. They worked but could not eat. Finally, in their desperation, they cried out to God, and God heard them. Section 2. God calls an unlikely hero. In a small place called Ophrah, a man named Gideon was secretly threshing wheat in a winepress, hiding from the enemy. Then suddenly an angel of the Lord appeared. "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior, mighty warrior." Gideon looked around, confused. "Please, my Lord," Gideon said, "if God is with us, why has all this happened?" Gideon didn't see himself as strong. He saw himself as weak. "My clan is the weakest, and I am the least in my family." But God saw something different. "I will be with you," God said, "and you will strike down the Midianites." Section 3. Tasting God and building faith. Gideon needed reassurance, so he prepared an offering, and the angel touched it with fire. Instantly, flames consumed it. Still unsure, Gideon asked God for a sign. He placed a fleece on the ground. Let the fleece be wet and the ground dry. In the morning it was exactly as he asked, but Gideon asked again. This time let the fleece be dry and the ground wet. And once again God answered. Slowly Gideon's fear turned into faith. Section 4. God reduces the army. Gideon gathered an army, 32,000 men. But God said something unexpected. "You have too many men, too many." God wanted Israel to know that victory comes from him, not human strength. So he told Gideon to send home anyone who was afraid. 22,000 left. Now only 10,000 remained. But still God said, "Too many." At the water, God gave one final test. Only 300 men remained. 300 against thousands. But this was God's plan. Section 5. The unexpected battle. That night Gideon divided the 300 men into groups. Each man held a trumpet, a jar, and a torch hidden inside. At midnight they surrounded the enemy camp. Then suddenly crash, the jars shattered. Light, torches blazed in the darkness. Sounds, trumpets roared. "A sword for the Lord and for Gideon," the Midianites panicked. In confusion they turned on each other. And just like that, the mighty army was defeated, not by strength but by God's power. The lesson, the story of Gideon, is not just about battle, it's about transformation. Gideon started as a man hiding in fear. A man who doubted, a man who questioned, a man who felt unqualified. And yet, God called him a mighty warrior before he ever believed it himself. Why? Because God does not see you as you are, he sees you as you can become. Gideon teaches us something powerful. You don't have to be strong for God to use you. You don't have to be fearless to obey. You just need to be willing. Sometimes God will reduce your resources so you can see his power more clearly. Sometimes your situation will feel impossible, but that's exactly where miracles happen. Think about it, 300 men against thousands. No swords in hand, just trumpets, jars, and torches. It didn't make sense, but obedience does not require understanding. It requires trust. And maybe today you feel like Gideon, hidden, afraid, not good enough, but God is calling you something greater. Mighty warrior. Not because of your strength, but because of his presence. So whatever battle you're facing, fear, failure, doubt, struggles in life, remember this. God can turn your weakness into victory. God can use the unlikely. God can fight your battles. All he asks is this: will you trust him? Will you step forward even when you're afraid? because your victory might not come the way you expect. But it will come through him. And just like Gideon, your story can go from fear to faith to victory.